When I was 8 years old, I decided I was finally going to catch the tooth fairy. My grandfather was a dentist. He always smiled whenever adults talked about the tooth fairy, but it wasn't the kind of smile that meant he thought the story was silly. Looking back, it was the smile of someone listening to people joke about something they didn't understand. The night my first tooth fell out, I tucked it beneath my pillow and pretended to fall asleep. I waited for glowing wings, tiny footsteps, anything. Sometime after midnight, my bedroom door slowly opened. I held my breath. It was my grandfather. He quietly reached beneath my pillow, took my tooth, slipped it into his pocket, and left. I almost laughed. So that's the secret, I thought. The tooth fairy is just Grandpa. Then I realized something. He hadn't left any money. Curious, I climbed out of bed and followed him down the hallway. He entered his study, locked the door, and turned on the light. I pressed my ear against it. At first I thought he was making a phone call. Then I noticed something impossible. Every time he stopped talking, someone answered. I couldn't hear the other voice. Only his. No. Silence. He hasn't agreed. Another pause. No. He's too young to understand. Silence. Then don't ask him. Another pause. No. You don't get to count this one. I frowned. Count what? Something scraped across the wooden floor. Then my grandfather spoke again. Take mine instead. A long silence. All of them. Another pause. I don't need them anymore. Glass shattered somewhere inside the room. My grandfather didn't even react. Instead he whispered, please. Another silence. Then, louder this time. No. You said yourselves. Dot until the first exchange happens. Dot is still free. I had never heard fear in my grandfather's voice before. Real fear. I ran back to bed before he opened the door. The next morning he looked like he hadn't slept in days. Without saying good morning, he placed my tooth into my hand. It felt strangely warm. He closed my fingers around it. Burn it. I laughed. But what about the tooth fairy? His face changed instantly. There is no tooth fairy. There are only things that buy. I waited for him to explain. Instead he crouched beside my bed and spoke so quietly I almost couldn't hear him. Listen carefully. If a dentist ever asks whether you want your tooth back, you say yes. If anyone offers to keep it, you refuse. If you lose one, you find it. And never. Ever. Leave one beneath your pillow again. I looked down at the tooth in my hand. Why? He was silent for a long time. Then he finally answered. Because some agreements can't be undone. I frowned. You mean because of the tooth? He slowly shook his head. No. The tooth isn't what they want. It's just how they ask. I didn't understand. He stood up and walked toward the door. Before leaving, he stopped without turning around. Then he said something I have never forgotten. They never take anything by force. They always need you to give them something willingly. He rested his hand on the doorknob. And once you do, they'll always find a way, to make you give them another piece of yourself. He left the room. He never spoke about it again. I never put another tooth under my pillow. But sometimes, I still wonder, how many pieces of me, I've already agreed to give away.